Throughout many years of United States history, there has been much immigration, but over the years, the immigration processes and immigrant treatments have evolved. In the early to mid 1900s, there were restrictions set upon people based on which country they came from. For example, the Immigration Act of 1917 limited the amount of people from Asia who were allowed to immigrate into the U.S. Many immigrants came for different reasons, whether it was escaping from a war at home or it was looking for better economic opportunities. Coming over was a challenge. The boat rides then were brutal, long, and emotionally and physically draining. Once they got here, the process of becoming a legal immigrant was pretty easy. Many other immigrants faced some other social challenges like the language barrier, but were able to find work and start a new life. Today, immigration into the United States is still a pretty common thing, but it has changed. Now, the process coming over to the United States has gotten easier, but the legal processes and economic treatment for immigrants has gotten more difficult.
When Marissa's grandmother, Elsa Rossi, immigrated from Italy in 1962, the journey was made difficult through the modes of transportation.
Those days they didn't have airplane, so I needed to. I had to come by boat. It took 8 days from Naples to New York.
In 1959, when Marissa's grandfather, Mario Rossi, immigrated over from Italy, the boats were very crowded.
With 1,300, 1,400 passenger.
Conditions were bad and sickness was common.
Oh my God. I was sick because it was winter time and that was going like this, the boat, because, it was bad weather, But I survived.
It was okay. Like I say, we're halfway, 3-4 days. When you leave Naples, the ocean usually calm. But after that, you come in the Mediterranean, which is rough, and sometimes we were eating at a table, you could see the dish go to one place or the other. And as a matter of fact, I got sick, I got pneumonia off the boat because...
Today, the means of transportation are a lot easier.
When Emmy's mom, Julie Sinclair, immigrated from Canada in 1987, the easier modes of transportation allowed for a quicker and easier trip to the U.S.
Well, thankfully, Montreal is only about a 6-hour drive from Boston, so I drove through Vermont and crossed the immigration border there and came to Boston from there.
Even though people came at different times and from different places, their feelings and emotions were still the same.
On the way here, I felt lost. I says, what am I doing on this boat?
That was the first time I left Canada, and I was going to a foreign country, and while it may not seem very different, Canada to United States, it definitely is a different place for me. And it was the first time I actually moved away from home.
Back then, becoming a legal immigrant was easier than it is today.
No, I did after 3 years. It was no problem then.
Because when you have a husband who's already a citizen, after a little bit, you can become a citizen. So it wasn't hard.
Okay. Today, to become a legal immigrant, you have to go through processes such as acquiring a green card.
So once I was a student, then I went onto an H-1B work visa, and that I was on for 3 years, which was then renewable again for 3 years. So for 6 years, I was an H-1B visa, and then I applied for a green card at that time. And it was hard being on an H-1B visa because it meant I had to stay in that specific job for that period of time because I was sponsored by that employer.
Back then, immigrants faced social obstacles that were similar to problems like the language barrier.
Yeah, no matter where I went, it was hard to get a hold, make you understand. Sometimes it was hard to go to the store and you want something. It was hard to tell. I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, but I have to learn after a while. You learn how to deal with it and learn the language.
But overall, the treatment of immigrants in the past was okay.
Treated okay, it was no problem.
That's good.
Today, the challenges that immigrants face are more centered around the biases towards them.
And I remember clearly when I was at the U.S. Immigration Services trying to apply for my green card. And there were definitely other people there, immigrants, who were applying too. But because they barely spoke the language or they had a different color, that you definitely felt that there was some prejudice against them. And they had a hard time because Remember, when you're going for citizenship, you don't have an American citizen, you don't have any rights, and so you feel definitely as the underserved population that you feel a huge bias against you in the process, and that's very difficult.
Although today some immigrants are able to avoid these issues.
Yes, I think I have the fortune of looking like an American, talking like an American, so it wasn't that hard for me.
Back then, for immigrants, finding a job was easier and faster than it is today.
But I found a job in this factory not too far from we were living. So
that time was very, very easy. I work for I'm a welder, and I work for a company for 30, 32 years for the same company. So.
Today, for immigrants, finding a job is more difficult and presents many challenges.
At the time, I was working at Mass General Hospital, and they were willing to sponsor me. And we had to create a job description that was unique for me. We had to put an application into the paper that lasted 3 days, saying how unique and specific the qualifications were for this job. And if any American applied for that job, then they would have to be interviewed and made sure that I was excelled in the opportunities than they were. So.
In conclusion, the immigrant experience and journey in the past was different than it is today. Back then, the journey was difficult, but once they arrived, the legal processes and job search was easier. Today, the means of transportation are easier, but the legal processes and finding a job is harder.